What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. Went 4-0 yesterday, and I know I always tell you guys not to do parlays, run them as straight bets, because that's what I did. But I know a lot of you guys ran them as parlays. And how do I know that? Because you told me so. So in today's video, I'm going to take you through 4 different bets that I've already got down. I'm also going to be running them as a parlay because I hate missing out on all the fun, but I'll also be playing them as straights. I'm going to give you all my insights, tell you why I like them. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Now, before we jump into those bets, quick recap on what the bets were. If it's your first time checking out the channel, smash on Kobe White over 17.5 points. Read it perfectly. Spoke about the potential injury news. Alonzo Ball, Josh Giddey, Ayo Dosunmu. All 3 of them are out. That line skyrocketed, and Kobe cashed that pretty easy. We also had Cade Cunningham over 9.5 assists. That was pretty sweaty. He should have had 15 assists, but that Detroit team couldn't shoot to save their lives in the first 3 quarters. But Cade delivered. We took Goga Batadze over 9.5 rebounds. Easy money against the Heat. And we took Mark Williams over his points and rebounds, and he absolutely dominated the Wizards once again. So 4-0 on that one. You guys clearly cashed out. I personally didn't. My NFL picks weren't that great today. I ran a lot of parlays, which didn't bring too much profit in. So close to a break-even day, I would say, for myself and VIP. But the reads are looking really good these days. So absolutely killing it at the moment. 55 units up on VIP. But if you do just want to say thanks and you want to support the channel, I ask you to sign up to BETR and BOOM Fantasy. Use the codes down below or the links. These guys pay me a little bit of a referral bonus, and they get me one step closer to being able to create content for you guys full time. Now, for an added incentive, if you do happen to do that, I do have a giveaway happening. Deposit $10, send me an email with a screenshot of your account. Sign up to both BETR and BOOM if you want to double your chances. Once we hit 50 referrals, I'll give $100 away as to 3 different people. So check all that stuff out. The links for that in the video description below. If you don't want to do that or you can't do that, at least you could like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're actually close to getting to 20,000 subscribers. I'd love to do that before this year finishes. Quietly confident we can make it happen. So sub to the channel, get us to 20,000 before 2025. Now let's get into these picks. Let's go. So we're jumping into Props Madness. If you haven't seen this tool before, this is called Props Madness. It's specifically made for NBA and the WNBA. It's got advanced metrics that you're not going to see anywhere else. Crazy filtering. It gets better the longer the season goes, which is probably why I'm getting better at betting the longer the season goes. But I do encourage you guys to check this out. There's a 7-day free trial in the video link below, and you'll get 25% off your first month if you use the code DAFT when you sign up. So go ahead and check that out. Now let's talk about these 4 bets. We've got quite a few games. Not too much injury news I'm waiting on, but the first game where I do actually have a bet is the Pacers versus Celtics. And we're looking at Jason Tatum today. And I am probably the biggest Jason Tatum hater on YouTube, and I still stand by that. This man can definitely ball out. So I'm taking his over 28.5 points today against the Indiana Pacers. Now, if you look at his season data, he's over this line in 16 out of 27, which is nice, a 59% hit rate. If we look at his specific play type and matchup data, it's okay. Nothing to write home about. If you look at his season shot data, you might think, oh, it might be difficult for him to score above the break. They do allow points around the bucket. He can get there. So the matchup is okay, right? But why Jason Tatum out of everybody else? Well, Jason Tatum, this has been a system play for me for the last couple of years. Now, Jason Tatum, if you did not know, has scored 30-plus points against the Indiana Pacers in 9 consecutive regular season games over the past 2 years. So the Pacers, they're just shit at defense every single year, but specifically for wings like Jason Tatum, who have size, who can handle the ball, who can get to the rim. These types of guys absolutely destroy the Pacers, and I'm looking for Jason Tatum to do that again. Another thing that really calls that out, thanks to Props Madness, we've got similar types of players versus the Pacers. Check that out. 9 out of the last, excuse me, I might be getting a little bit sick, but 9 out of the last 10 players with similar play types, similar size to Jason Tatum have gone over their point side. From Kevin Durant, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Kyle Kuzma, RJ Barrett again, Wagner, Ingram, Tatum himself, Banchero. These types of wings who are big, that can handle the rock, get to the basket, These guys have been killing the Indiana Pacers this season, and I'm just backing Jason Tatum to do it again. If this line moves to 29.5, I would still take it. But if it does move to 29.5, you better hope that you're getting plus money for it. So 28.5 is what I've got. I'd play this up to 29.5. It's a system play of mine. Jason Tatum, go get it, my boy. The next game we're jumping into is the Memphis Grizzlies versus the New Orleans Pelicans. And we're going with a big fella today. We're going with Zach Edey over 10.5 points. He's over this in only 9 out of 19 games this season. He is averaging 11.1 points per game, meaning when he does go over, he does tend to do a very good job. Now, I've had to use Props Madness to get some more specific data here. So, firstly, looking at the matchup, it is fantastic. Zach Edey scores his points cutting to the basket through putbacks and in transition. The big man can move. This Pelicans team allow the most putback points in the league, third most points in transition as well. If we look at his shot zones, most of his points are in the paint. Like, if you think about, look at how big he is, he's scoring down there. And if you look at the Pelicans shot zone defense, they allow the second most points in the restricted area in the league. So right under that basket, they are weak as. And Zach Edey, I'm looking forward to him taking advantage of that and making the most out of his size. So the matchup is nice. And you can use Props of Madness to identify games where he's seen similar matchups. So if we look at the games where he's played the bottom 15 teams at limiting putback points, meaning they allow a lot of them, and we filter it by games where he plays at least 20 minutes, he's over this line in 6 out of 8 games. Now, he went under against the Clippers. He was 1 from 8. Had to deal with Big Zubac in that one, so I can give him a pass there. He also went under against the Golden State Warriors. I remember watching this game. This is the 51-point beatdown. Zach Edey played 24 minutes. He only attempted 5 shots in that game. He finished with 8 points. But in that particular game, I think the Grizzlies were looking to break a team record on 3-pointers made or total points scored or something ridiculous like that. Like the last quarter of that game where Zach Edey saw a lot of garbage time. All they were doing was shooting 3-pointers. Luke Kennard probably hit like 5 3-pointers in that fourth quarter. All they were doing was running up the score. Zach Edey barely got anything. He attempted 2 3-pointers himself just to get in on the action. So I can give him a pass on the 2 games where he actually went under. But in this type of matchup with the Pelicans, 9.5 point spread, I think Zach Edey eats here. He's kind of blowout proof as well. If the Grizzlies do happen to blow out the Pels, I think they're still going to give Zach Edey the same time, 25 to 30 minutes. He's still going to be out there on the floor in this Pelicans team. Very small. Zach Edey should get to work. So I do like he's over 10.5 points. Sticking with the big man theme here. Jumping into the Cavs versus the Nuggets. We're going Nikola Jokic, best man in basketball. And I'm looking at his rebounds today. Looking at over 11.5 rebounds. So I managed to catch the 11.5 rebounds quite early. This line is going to move at 12.5, but don't feel discouraged because at 12.5, I would still take that anyway. Now, if we look at Nikola Jokic, he's hit this line of 11.5 in 15 out of 25 games this season. He's averaging 12.6 rebounds per game. If you just looked at like rebounds allowed, the Cavs, 11th fewest rebounds allowed on the season. You might not think there's a strong correlation there, but they actually give up a ton of rebounds to centers. I also like that Aaron Gordon is out. Well, yes, I do like that Aaron Gordon is out for the purposes of this bet. Now, without Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic averages 14 rebounds a game. With Aaron Gordon in the lineup, he averages 11.9 rebounds per game. So I do like Nikola Jokic without Aaron Gordon here. Should dominate, get a lot of boards. Also, played the Cavs December 5th, and in that game, he had 20 rebounds. He matched a season high, 20 rebounds against the Cavs in 39 minutes from 27 rebound chances. That's pretty simple. The Cavs play pretty big as well. Jared Allen, not going to stretch the floor. Nikola Jokic, not going to be too far away from the rim. He'll find himself in good rebound position all night. Another thing I love about this play for Nikola Jokic is purely based on minutes. He played 39 minutes against the Cavs last time. I'm not going to assume he plays the same, but I can see him playing at least 35 minutes in this. Should be a competitive game. The Nuggets are playing a little bit better these days. It's a 2-point spread. Nuggets at home, which in Denver is pretty advantageous. Now, if we look at the games where Nikola Jokic plays at least 35 minutes, he's over this line in 14 out of 20 games, averaging 13.7. If we look at those games without Aaron Gordon, he's over this line in 5 out of 6 games, averaging 15.8 rebounds per game. So the Cavs, They give up a lot of rebounds to centers. Jokic should see a lot of game time because this game should be close. He's got a good matchup. Joe Allen's not going to move too far away. Plus, he tore the Cavs apart with 20 rebounds the last time they played. I can't see how this loses. There's always a chance that it does, but that's why I love this bet here for Nikola Jokic, just running his rebounds. If you want to think about other Jokic props, I think his assists are probably a good look. His points, his first quarter points in particular, those are somewhat enticing because he's been aggressive as hell to start games. But for me, the favorite prop that I like for Nikola Jokic is his rebounds, and it's an over. Then our last pick, before we get into even more value, so don't you dare go anywhere, we're looking at Tyus Jones here from the Phoenix Suns. Now, no Booker once again. Booker's going to be out for another couple of days. I think he might come back on the 28th of December. But for Tyus Jones, I'm looking at it under in his assists. So I managed to catch this at 7.5. Still some 7.5s available, but I assume it's going to be 6.5 on most books. So let's just talk about it on that angle. At 6.5, you should be getting plus money for this. So I'm loving this play here for Tyus Jones, looking at it under 6.5 assists. Now, he's averaging 6.5 assists on the season. He's missing Devin Booker. He's a high usage guard. You'd automatically assume that Tyus Jones is going to see more assists, right? But I was waiting to get a bit more data on this, but it looks like it's true. And what I'm saying here is without Devin Booker, this man doesn't dime up at all. He's averaging 2.7 assists in the 3 games without Devin Booker. He's had 2 excellent matchups against Denver, who give up the most assists in the league. 2.7 assists. Look at his potentials, 5, 4, and 6. So he's averaging 5 potential assists in the 3 games without Devin Booker, and his line's at 6.5. Like, he doesn't even get enough potential assists to cover this based on what we're seeing. The other thing that I've noticed since Devin Booker's been gone, we've seen Bradley Beal's assists go up, Kevin Durant's assists go up, Yusuf Nurkic's assists go up, Tyus Jones, his assists have not. Let me show you what happens with his points. His points, he's averaging 15 points per game without Devin Booker. With Devin Booker in the lineup, he averages 12.5. So Tyus Jones, probably falling into that scoring role, I would say. Is more of a spot-up shooter, gives us somebody a little bit more reliable. And they're running a lot of their offense through Nurkic, Beal, and Kevin Durant. So Tyus Jones, not loving him to get assists in this one. He's up against the Dallas Mavericks, and they do give up the 10th most assists in the league. He's also played the Mavericks twice this season. Devin Booker did play in both of those games. So he averaged 6 assists in those games with Devin Booker against the Dallas Mavericks, 7 and 5. So he had 12 and 7 potential assists in those 2 games. From that 19, we're looking at 9.5 potential assists per game against Dallas. He's not getting close to that without Devin Booker in the lineup. So if things continue to go the way that they have been, I think Tyus Jones probably scores more points, doesn't get as many assists here, which is why I'm loving the 6.5. I took the 7.5, paid for a little bit of juice, but a win's a win at the end of the day, right? So Tyus Jones, I do like his under. I got some more looks in that Phoenix game, which I'll talk to you about in a minute, so don't you dare go nowhere. So those are my 4 bets, and I do have a sneaky feeling that once I post this video and I let this run for about 4 to 6 hours, we're probably going to get to 20,000 subscribers. So I'm going to jump the gun early. I'm going to say thank you. Thank you for your support. This year has been absolutely insane. At the start of this year in 2024, I think it had 1,000 subscribers. So to go from 1,000 to 20,000 in 12 months is absolutely mind-blowing. I've been grinding this channel out for a couple of years now, but for that to happen in just 1 year has honestly changed my life, which is why I'm pushing a lot of these apps, these promo codes, why I'm running a VIP, because the ultimate goal is for me to create content full time. And in order for me to do that, your boy's got to cover some bills. So just want to say thank you. It's crazy. 20,000. If we don't get it today, I might look like an idiot, but we'll definitely get it tomorrow if it's not today. But I just want to say thank you for all the support, all the kind words. My videos get hundreds of comments every single day. And in comparison to a lot of the other guys out there, it is unbelievable the amount of support that I get. So I just wanted to say thank you. Going to give you some more value, so don't feel like we're stopping right here. We're still going to go through each game, probably talk about some key players. I'll give you some insights, tell you what my thoughts are, and hopefully that helps in making you a bit more money when it comes to stacking these bets. And I kindly remind you again, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I should have wrapped that out, shouldn't I? Sub to the channel because your boy's getting busy. I should have. I might have missed that opportunity, but I'm not going to edit this out. 20,000 subscribers. Help your boy get there. Now let's get into some deep dive and some insights. Let's go. All right, looking at the Knicks versus the Magic, a couple of things caught my attention straight away. One, Goga Batadze is playing. Goga Batadze's line's at 9.5. Like, I've been betting on this guy non-stop since he hit the starting lineup. I'm not betting it today, though. He did have 11 rebounds against the Knicks about 2 weeks ago from 13 rebound chances. Only got 25 minutes in that one. I remember watching that one. That was a game where I thought that it was dead, that he wasn't going to get there. And then some crazy stuff happened in the last quarter, and he managed to cover. So I'm not feeling too confident about the matchup. The Knicks, second fewest rebounds allowed. Cat going to play on the perimeter. Bit of a foul merchant these days too, so Goga could find foul trouble. So a bit of hesitation there betting on Goga. I'm not saying he's going to go under, but just wanted to explain why I'm not betting his over. I think there's a little bit of risk. Another one is on Jalen Brunson. A popular play, probably going to be the over in points for Jalen Brunson today, and I get it. It makes sense. Orlando, very good defensively. Their only weak spot is in defending pick and roll ball handlers, and Jalen Brunson, very strong in that category. 31% of his points are scored in the pick and roll. He is a bit of a foul merchant. If we look at how he's played against Orlando this season, 21 and 31 points. The 21, he was 8 for 15, but that was a blowout. He only played 27 minutes in that game, whereas 38 minutes, scores 31 points. So provided Orlando can keep this game close, Jalen Brunson goes over this line. Another reason why it's probably a good bet here is that this game's being played on the road in Orlando. One, that helps Orlando keep the game close, you'd assume. But also, Jalen Brunson averages 3 more points per game on the road than he does at home. So 27 points per game on the road, 21 points per game at home. So it all supports the over, and I did consider betting on it, but Jalen Brunson has been a little bit difficult. He doesn't go over when I expect him to, and so that's why I'm not betting it, but I do get it. It makes a ton of sense. I think that's a great look if you choose to take it. Looking at the Spurs versus the Nets, and we got Wemby, killed the Knicks on Christmas Day. I still cannot predict how this guy's going to play. I don't know how many minutes he's going to play. I don't know how many shots he's going to take. He's going to take 16 3-pointers. I don't know. And props madness doesn't necessarily help me with that. It tells me that he's got a difficult matchup, but it told me that he's got a good matchup for the Knicks because he scores in the pick and roll. Mate, he took 16 3-pointers. I don't see many pick and rolls happening there. So Victor Wembanyama probably has a great game, but based on the data and the fact that I haven't watched many Wemby games, to be honest, this season, I can't really comment on it. So that's why I had no bets in this game. I don't know what's happening there. Ben Simmons, it looks like he might be out. He seems like the only person worth betting on the Nets these days. So, yeah, I've got no good looks in that one. Nothing to really talk through. We've got the Pacers versus Celtics. We spoke about Jason Tatum. Who else is that might catch your attention? Can we talk about Tyrese Halliburton and just hate on him because he sucks? But this is the thing, right? Halliburton sucks, and I want to take his under against Boston, but chances are he goes over because he sucks that much. So I don't have a ban list. Like, I'm a grown-ass man. I don't do ban lists. If I did have one, Tyrese Halliburton would be on it because he's extremely hard to predict. He scored 17 against Boston on the 31st of October. He took 19 shots in that game. He was aggressive as hell. I don't know. Does he do it again? That I cannot tell you. This Boston team, pretty good defensively, but they'll happily let players go one-on-one with them. And I think the person who's most capable at doing that is probably a Pascal Siakam. Very aggressive, can do it off the dribble, off the post, can do it off the ball. So he can do it in so many ways. Pascal Siakam, his line's at 19.5. He's hit this in 17 out of 27 games, averaging 20 points per game. Did score 19 against Boston in the opener. That was a home game. Now he's on the road. I wonder what his road splits look like. Nothing really changes. Averages 20 on the road, averages 19.5 at home. It's very minimal, the improvement. So, yeah, I probably like Pascal to score some points. If you're doing some bitch-ass parlays, a 15 for Pascal I'd like. But, yeah, I'm not willing to take any overs in that one. One that I do like, though, not enough to bet, but I do like is this one. It's TJ McConnell over 10.5 points. Firstly, he's been cashing this like crazy since the end of November. He's been going nuts, cashing this at an extremely consistent rate. His matchup is great too. So TJ McConnell scores 47% of his points in the pick and roll. The Boston Celtics, they allow the third most points in the pick and roll as well. TJ McConnell goes through those pick and rolls, doesn't shoot those long ass jump shots. He's a short king like myself. He gets in the paint, scoring a ton of points in the paint. This Boston Celtics team, somewhat soft in the paint. So TJ McConnell, his matchup makes sense. He did only score 10 points when they last played the Pacers. They won that game, surprisingly. I think the benefit here to TJ McConnell being a bench player is if the Boston Celtics, keep this in mind, it's 11-point spread. If the Boston Celtics beat up on the Pacers, TJ McConnell might see even more game time, more opportunity to get these points. So he's got a good matchup. His recent form is pretty good. I don't know what my hesitation is. It just doesn't sit right with me. I probably won't bet on it, but I think it's a really good look. Then we got the Timberwolves versus the Rockets. Two pretty good defensive teams. I had a quick look over this game. The Rockets I find hard to bet on full stop, but let's just see where we look. Anthony Edwards finally had a good game again, remembered how to play basketball. 26 points against the Mavs, 11 from 24, 4 from 7 from deep. Up against the Houston Rockets. He's played them once already this season, scored 29 points in 43 minutes, 22 shots, so a ton of volume. So for this particular one, I'd be looking at Anthony Edwards' points overs, or I'd be looking at his assists unders because they're somewhat correlated. You can see the last time he played the Houston Rockets, he finished with only 1 assist, but he did score a lot of points, 29 points. So Anthony Edwards, why? It's pretty much his Houston Rockets defense, which I've been speaking about all season. It's very similar to Boston's in a way that they'll let you play one-on-one with them, but they'll limit the number of assists you get. They're going to defend the corners quite well. They defend the perimeter. They're not going to help too much. So they'll happily let Anthony Edwards play one-on-one with Dylan Brooks, play one with Amon Thompson, and see how he goes, which is why a lot of these star players, when they verse the Houston Rockets, they take a lot of shots. Like one thing you can see here in this graph is the Houston Rockets allow the second most points in isolation. And the reason is because they don't help. They let people play in isolation all the time. Whereas there are some teams that don't allow any points of the isolation because they crash, they help, right? Whereas this Houston Rockets team, they're going to trust their defenders to do what they can to make life difficult. Like Anthony Edwards scored 29 points against the Houston Rockets, but he shot 8 from 22, 36% from the field. The Houston Rockets will be happy with that. They won that game by 6 points. They forced Anthony Edwards into some tough shots, and they got the win. They don't care how many points he scores. So, which is why I probably lean to the over for Anthony Edwards' points, and I like the unders for his assists. Do I bet them? That I'm not too sure about. Who knows? I might put a parlay together and put them both. But Anthony Edwards, I think that's a really interesting look. For Houston, there's nobody there that really catches my attention. Maybe Jabari Smith 3-pointers. He hits those pretty consistently, but outside of that, there's no reason to take it. Well, he did hit 3 of them against the Wolves last time, but he was 3 from 4. That's a complete outlier. Throw that in the bin. But yeah, Anthony Edwards probably the only one worth talking about from that game. Then we have the Grizzlies versus the Pelicans. I want to look at Trey Murphy because he's just been killing it as of late. He just scored 4 points. He just covered this line of 18.5 in 4 consecutive games now. Up against Memphis. Played Memphis earlier this season, scored 21 points. In that game, no Zion, no Brandon Ingram. So he'll probably see similar minutes, which is the high 30s. He'll probably see similar usage. Trey Murphy, it's not a bad look. Did come into that last game with some sort of injury. So he only played 30 minutes in that last one. Could have been because it was a blowout, lost by 17 points. The spread in this game, though, against the Grizzlies is 9.5. The Grizzlies, they do allow a lot of 3-pointers. They also allow a ton of points above the break as well, which is Trey Murphy's specialty. So his matchup to score points is pretty good. He's done it against them before. He's been doing it recently. What's my hesitation here? Well, it is a back-to-back, and he did have an injury, but he's had 3 back-to-back games this season. In these games, 14, 25, and 21. So it's not like he completely sucks on a back-to-back. So a Trey Murphy points prop, I would lean to the over on. 3-pointers, I wouldn't. That seems very high. 3.5 is a line, but just looking at his points, he gets out in transition very well. And this Grizzlies team likes to run, but they don't like being run on. So there could be some lobs here for Trey Murphy as well. He's been killing that on the break. I actually think I might bet this. Trey Murphy over 18.5 points. I think that's a pretty good look. We've spoken about Zach Edey, but who else is there? We've got John Morant. Let's take a look. His points line 23.5 seems very high. He's got a great matchup here. This New Orleans Pelicans team does not play defense. He's going to get a lot of opportunities to run. The problem here is for a lot of these Memphis Grizzlies, a lot of them are going to have a good matchup here. Let's look at Jaren Jackson for a second. Yeah, Jaren Jackson, he's got a decent matchup. Desmond Bain, he's got a good matchup as well, which is the difficulty here, which is why I think this is a good tip to give you guys. When you're researching player props for a particular game, don't just look for certain players and leave it at that. It's always good to look at every single player. Then you can get an idea of who has a good matchup, who doesn't, because that could impact the volume, the usage. So with Ja Morant here, if so many other players have a strong matchup, like I think Zach Edey's going to have a big game. If so many other players have a good matchup, why would you bet on someone with such a high line like a Ja Morant? Not saying he's going to go under, but there's a real life possibility here that the Grizzlies blow them out, which is a risk. There's a possibility here that he just dimes up and gets a ton of assists. He's played the Pelicans earlier this season. He only played 29 minutes, had 7 assists in that game, and 27 points. So he balled out last time. Does he do it again? Will there be an adjustment? All these stuff I don't know. But Ja Morant, knowing that there could be a blowout, knowing that they don't play him much in the fourth when there is one, that's a bit of a concern for me. So I'm not betting on Ja Morant in that one. What else we got? Cavs versus the Nuggets. We got Michael Porter Jr. No Aaron Gordon, so a lot of people are going to bet on Michael Porter Jr., I think. Points prop is in 6 out of 11 games without him, so nothing major going on there. His rebound props at 6.5. He's hit that in 6 out of 11. And his assist prop is cash really nice. 9 out of 11 games without Aaron Gordon, which is pretty interesting. I wonder if we do without Aaron Gordon, with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, and he's hit this in 5 out of 6 games. So Michael Porter Jr. over his assist prop, perhaps. Matchup, probably a little bit difficult, though, up against the Cavs. Now, the Cavs, they do give up a lot of points to spot up shooters, but yeah, see here, out of all these games that he's played, this is the toughest matchup in terms of assists allowed. Probably enough to scam you away, but at the same time, hit rate bettors probably be all over Michael Porter Jr. assists, and I wouldn't be surprised if it cashes. A lot of players at his position have cashed at a decent rate, so I don't hate that at all. Who else is there? Donovan Mitchell. I think he could have a strong scoring game. That's not backed by data, not yet anyway. Let's have a look. He did score 28 points last time he played the Denver Nuggets in 33 minutes. His matchup, somewhat difficult, the Denver Nuggets. Fifth fewest points to pick and roll ball handlers. They do, however, give up points in transition and to spot up shooters. So Donovan Mitchell, the thing with Donovan Mitchell, it doesn't matter if the matchup is good or not. Like if Donovan Mitchell wants to get his, he'll get his. I feel like a lot of the matchup stuff is probably more correlated to role players, whereas your star players, a lot of the time, the matchup data isn't the most helpful thing. For some of them, doesn't matter if the matchup's good or bad. They're unpredictable, or sometimes it's like they'll get it anyway. So, but Donovan Mitchell, I think this is the type of game where he scores buckets on the road. So I wonder what his home and away splits look like. Yeah, his points go up a little bit on the road, but his last 4 games on the road have been dog shit. He hasn't done anything. 12, 18, 12, and 18. So hasn't scored more than 20 points on the road since the 20th of November. Donovan Mitchell getting quiet on us. I wonder if that's because of the emergence of Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley has started to heat up lately. You can see it throughout December. There's a lot more green in comparison to the prior months. On the road this season, yeah. So you can see from the how crazy is that? From the 20th of November, where Donovan Mitchell stopped scoring points on the road, Evan Mobley was a beast in 4 out of the 5 games that they played on the road. So I'm not saying that continues, but Evan Mobley, he could be a decent matchup for the day. That's what makes this all a little bit difficult, but it also makes it fun at the same time. His matchup's not too bad scoring points. He did score 20 against Denver last time. I think this all makes sense. But look, what I'm saying here is we've got Donovan Mitchell, who I think can go off. We've got Evan Mobley, who's been going off lately. Both of them covered their line against Denver last time. Do you pick one? Do you pick both? Do you pick none, knowing that one of them's going to eat? I'm picking none, because if I pick Donovan Mitchell and Mobley goes off, I'd hate myself. If I pick Mobley and Mitchell scores, I'll hate myself. If I pick them both, and even if I split them, I'll still lose money, so I hate myself. And there's always the risk that both of them go under as well. That's why I'm not betting either of them, but who knows? You might have a different opinion than me. You might like one of these players a little bit more than the other. I'll leave that up to you. We got the Dallas Mavericks versus the Suns, and I've got some pretty interesting insights on this one. So I spoke about Tyus Jones and the impact of Devin Booker. The other one, which is probably most obvious, is Nikola Jokic, uh, Yusuf Nurkic, looking at his assist prop. So pretty much the game here is without Devin Booker is an assist machine. 5.3 assists per game this season, which is why I bet on his assist prop the last few games. We actually laddered him up to 5. That 5 assists in the last game against Denver was plus 1,500. It was insane. The odds aren't going to get anything close to that now, which is why I'm not betting a whole unit on it. But even if you looked at last season games without Devin Booker, look at his assist numbers, 4.6 assists per game. So I think that's probably going to be a popular play. This is not a secret to anyone anymore, but I think it's a good look. But this was more exciting when it used to be 1.5 and I caught it. Now it's at 2.5. I think he still goes over, but I don't feel like the edge is as big as it once was. The other one that you need to factor in is Bradley Beal without Devin Booker. And look at his scoring, 26, 23, and 27 points. He's averaging 25 points per game without Devin Booker. Up against the Mavericks today, his matchup's not bad. He doesn't have the easiest matchup in the world, but does see a ton of volume. His usage rate is above 25% without Devin Booker in the lineup. So Bradley Beal to go over his points, I think, is a good look as well. So we have those three. And for Dallas, we've got no Kyrie Irving. We got no Luka Doncic. My apologies. Kyrie Irving, these are his games without Luka. He's averaging 24 points per game without Luka. He's gone over this line at 27.5 and only 2 of them against Atlanta and Utah. Both of those matchups, soft as hell. Up against Phoenix today, who does present a slightly more difficult challenge than those two teams. But 27.5 is a high line for somebody like Kyrie Irving. Unselfish superstar, happy to watch others get off. So keep that in mind. Another one, we got PJ Washington. Now, PJ Washington, he does score a lot more when Luka's not there. But I don't think many people are going to bet on that anyway because it's trending down. What I think a lot of people could fall victim to betting on is this. It's his rebounds without Luka Doncic, averaging 10 rebounds per game this season without Luka in the lineup, covering in 7 out of 8 games. I, for one, bet this many times without Luka, but I'm not betting it today. And the reason why I'm not betting it today is because he's up against the Phoenix Suns. PJ Washington is going to pick up the Kevin Durant matchup, and you're going to get a Kevin Durant with no Devin Booker, which is a high usage rate Kevin Durant. I looked at the games. They played, I think in October, very early in this season, Dallas versus Phoenix. PJ Washington was the key defender in Kevin Durant. He did have 6 rebounds in that game, but none of those rebounds came on half-court sets. It's not like he was defending Kevin Durant, there was a miss, and then he went and got the rebound. How do I know that? I looked at all of his rebounds. A lot of them were on fast breaks, offensive rebounds, loose defensive rebounds, or free throws, missed free throws, and you get the rebounds. But I also looked at every single shot attempt that Kevin Durant took in that game. Like 75% of those shots, PJ Washington was his main defender, which is why I'm not taking him for 7.5 rebounds today, because he's not going to get those easy Luka Doncic type rebounds. I don't know who that person is going to be to get those boards. Could it be a Kyrie? Could it be a Clay? Could it, I don't know, Quentin Grimes perhaps? I think he's gotten rebounds in Luka's absence in one game. Actually, quite a few. So it could be a Quentin Grimes who gets some big rebounds. It could be a Kyrie Irving who gets these rebounds. As you can see here, all of these guys have had some pretty big rebounds without Luka Doncic in the lineup. I think it all depends on matchups. That I haven't figured out just yet. But I do know I'm not betting on PJ Washington rebounds because I think he's going to be defending KD the whole time. Now, he can still get it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying to bet the under. I'm just saying that this isn't as exciting as it once was because of the matchup. What else have we got? We got the Warriors versus the Clippers. And in this game, I'm honestly going to tell you what the hell happens. The Clippers, no Steph. Draymond's a game time decision as well. Who else is out? Let me double check this. Gary Payton's out as well. Nothing major, but they still have a team that's good enough to keep this competitive, though. I think the spread's like 4 points in this game, 4.5 points. But we got James Harden. So James Harden, in the 2 games against the Golden State Warriors this season, absolutely dimed them up. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. 11 and 16 assists for James Harden. Now, the line for him is only at 7.5. He's not injured or anything like that. The Warriors have been still giving up a lot of assists to guards as of late. My only hesitation with betting this for James Harden is he hasn't been diming up at all lately. Like, it's not that he's not getting the assists and people are missing. The potential assist volume is not there. He's getting 10, 11, 12 potential assists in a lot of these games. When he played the Warriors, he had 19 potential assists and 17 potential assists. So I don't know if this is just a Warriors thing or it's a James Harden thing. I don't know what's been happening with him as of late. I would hate to bet he's over an assist just because he's done it against the Warriors and then lose. Like, for example, I bet on Clint Capella to go over his first quarter points prop today, which lost. And the reason why I bet on it was because of this. His recent form sucked, but in 2 games against the Chicago Bulls this season, he scored 10 points in the first quarter in both games. His line was at 2.5. I took the over. He finishes on 2 points. And I don't want that to happen again because that's a stupid way to bet. So James Harden, I'm staying away. If he kills it, good on him. It must be a Warriors thing. If he sucks, then yeah, his recent form, there's something has changed, whether it be in their offense, whether it be in his mindset, attitude, whether it be the other players in the team. That's my only hesitation betting on James Harden. Looking at the Golden State Warriors, I couldn't tell you who scores and who does what. We've got Dennis Schroeder as the lead guard now. Buddy Hield makes his way to the starting lineup potentially, or Podziemski. Andrew Wiggins probably becomes their go-to guy on offense. He's been playing quite well as of late. Andrew Wiggins has actually given the Clippers the business, 29 and 22 points. Now we get to see Andrew Wiggins without Steph Curry. Could be an interesting look. I'll probably look into Fantasy Labs to see what the hell goes on here with Andrew Wiggins against the Clippers. But yeah, he's given them the business in both games. Steph Curry played in both of those games. But yeah, I think that's an interesting look. I don't know if he goes over, but it's definitely one that I'm going to look further into. That's a wrap on today's video. I got no baby to bring on board, so hoping that we can get the sweep without the little man with us. Hoping we go 4-0. I am betting a parlay, but I do encourage you guys to bet it straight where you can. It is the way to have a long-term sustainable profit, so please be sure to do that. Also, sign up to BETR and BOOM. I've got that giveaway happening. The links for that in the video description below. And if you want to support me and everything that I do, you can also sign up to VIP. That also helps me. You get access to every single bet that I make. I think there's a discount code in the video description below as well. If you want to check that out, feel free to do so. But I do appreciate you all if you made it this far. Hopefully we're at 20,000 subscribers by the time you watch this. If not, do us a favor and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.